even when you requested to be on their email list, they would deny that. And I actually sent some stuff to the Attorney General on that, and that didn't go anywhere. But all the meetings that they're going to have should be announced publicly, should be on social media or something. And when you request to be on their email list, I'm a taxpayer. I should get to know when the meeting is going to be, but they refuse to put me on the email list. So you can actually get on the email list. Anything comes up, they're going to have a special meeting. They're supposed to notify you that, but they said I'm not a news outlet. So like Mr. Beasley over here has a great following on Facebook. That would be a great thing for him to be, is notified of that. He can let people know, hey, there's a meeting coming up. All the financial information on the school board should just be on their website, accessible. People want to know who won this bid, where did all this money go, different things. It should just be out there for people to get. It's our money, our tax dollars at work. We should get to know those things.
All right. What is your reason for running for a position on the school board? And if elected, what is your top 3 priorities?
Okay, I got friends and family members that were teachers here in Grayson County, and what Mark has said is just about word for word what I've heard a lot of them say. They went somewhere else. I'd like to trim some of the waste that's going on. We got some administrators that I feel is wasted expense. Give some of that to the teachers instead. I want to see our open enrollment program available to people who aren't even teachers. So right now, I don't know if Mr. Whitley does this now or not, but if you're a teacher and you decide, I live in Grayson County, but I want to teach in Breckenridge County, your children can go to Breckenridge County. So teachers essentially have school choice already, and the rest of us don't. I'd like to see us do an open enrollment where if we have a program that somebody in Hardin County likes that they don't have, we can welcome them to Grayson County, and the revenue that would follow them would follow us. So it's kind of like a school choice, but it's inside the public school system. And I want to see us get a clay shooting league with the USA League. It even includes homeschoolers. I like to see people in our community that's homeschooling. I like to see them be able to come in and participate. Top 3 priorities. Okay, that's coming later. Yeah, so those are some things.
All right. What is a school board member's role and responsibility? How does that role differ from the role of a superintendent or administration?
All right, pretty simple, cut and dry. People who get elected represent taxpayers. That's how it is. Represent the taxpayers. Supposed to be a good steward of those tax dollars to make sure they're going for what they're intended for. Those tax dollars are not intended for any specific system or person. That's for the education of the child. So, I do support the school choice amendment that's coming up. Those tax dollars, if they could better educate a child in a different system, that's what they should do. So the superintendent represents the teacher. Goes to Frankfort, does different things for what's going on in Frankfort. That's their role. They represent the teacher and the school system in general, but the board members represent the taxpayers, and that's who they're accountable to.
All right. What should your school district do to better prepare students as citizens?
We should encourage trades just as much as we do degrees. We are improving on that. I know that getting ready to have an awesome vocational center, but we should really encourage trades a lot. That's what I've always been in. Lots of guys in my family growing up, trades. I've seen people make fine livings in trades. I'm not down in degrees, but I think we focus a lot on degrees, and we need to put some more on trades. We need to stay away from, another thing, we need to stay away from ideologies and just focus on fundamentals. There's a lot of social engineering, I feel, that's coming from the federal government and being tied to Title IX incentives for their funding, and their funding's only like, I don't know, a fourth, a fifth of the budget. So we really need to stay away from ideologies, focus on fundamentals, and our district, I don't know, I like to see somehow be able to discipline children a little better, without overstepping boundaries, of course. But I've seen and heard of situations where things are getting out of hand on a school bus. Bus driver feels helpless, even teachers, So I think some things need to be done there to kind of work on that.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next candidate up is Dr. Darrell Witten, running for school board in the 1st District.
Well, first, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank those who organized the forum, and for those who are listening online. I am Dr. Darrell Witten. I am running for school board in District 1, which represents Clarkson, Big Clifty, and Millerstown. And my only claim to fame is I am the last graduate of Clarkson High School. And I live outside of Clarkson right now. I'm a certified Kentucky teacher, principal, school business manager, director of pupil personnel, instructional supervisor, and superintendent. I've got 29 years of experience as a public school administrator and educator. I've spent 10 years in the classroom, 10 years as a school principal, 9 years as a central office administrator, and I worked for the State Department during that time as an educational recovery specialist. I've got 10 years of experience now at the university level where I currently work. So I'm a university supervisor who supervises teachers that are getting their certification. And I also, since getting my doctorate, have started teaching for the university. So education is essentially my life. In addition to that, I've got a background in business, administrative leadership. I've also served as the Teachers Association president along the way. And I've made many presentations to school boards and superintendents. I'm married to my wife, Sheila. We've been married for 15 years. We share 4 children, 11 grandchildren, 3 of which are in the Grayson County school system. So I have a passion for serving the local community. I'm a dedicated servant leader, and I pledge to you, if I'm elected, integrity, professionalism, open-minded decision-making, including a listening ear. And above and beyond all, with my background as an educator, I think I understand what teachers and what students need.
All right. And what school district or community activities / organizations have you been involved?
Well, I've attended all the board meetings since I decided to run for the board of education. So I'm attending board meetings, and I'm also attended I attended the teacher support rally for the pay raises. I work with the Clarkson PTA on a grant to get more playground equipment. I'm a member of a group called the Clarkson Connected Group, where it combines business, civic, and church leaders to improve our community. And I'm an active member of the Litchfield Lions Club.
All right, our next question. How can the board be accessible and transparent to the community?
Well, one of the things that I did when I decided to run for school board was I published my email address, my personal cell phone, and so I'm available to, be accessible as an individual as part of the board. And so if you want to call me or email me or text me, then I am available. I'd also like to see the board meetings broadcast on Facebook Live. And I got some sense along the way that that's been done periodically, but the last 6 or so board meetings that I've attended, that has not been done. So I would also like to see the agendas, and I think a couple of the other candidates mentioned that, the agendas and the minutes put out there so that it's accessible by all. Oops, sorry.
You're good.
I'd also like to encourage more local involvement to get, when I've attended board meetings, there's not a whole lot of people there unless there's something going on, with recognition of students. So I'd like to reach out to the community, and I know that the newspaper covers the board, but I'd also like to see the radio station cover the board so that we've got more participation in the process. And then lastly, I'd like to have forum meetings with out in the schools and out in the communities so that we can get feedback from the parents, from the teachers, and from all the educators about things that are needed.
All right, our next question is, what is your reason for running for a position on the school board? And if elected, what is your top 3 priorities?
I was actually asked 4 years ago to run, and I just had so much on my plate completing the doctorate that it just wasn't in the cards. And so when it came around this time, I was asked by friends, neighbors, and educators if I would run because of my background and because of my experiences and my education, background. In addition to that, I've got 3 grandchildren in Grayson County Schools, 2 of which are here tonight. And I know that my knowledge and my experience will greatly improve teaching and learning in the schools. And my top 3 priorities, the first one is the finances. While I think we do a good job with our budget, I think we can do better. And so the recent controversy with the salaries is kind of an indication of that. So I'd like to make sure that we're looking very carefully at how we're spending our money. I looked at some numbers, and we're spending a little bit less than half on student actual learning. And so, there's other things that are being utilized. I'd also, like a couple of the other candidates, have transparency in decision making. It's kind of sad that the decisions are made in isolation when we could share that information and let people be involved. And I mentioned earlier those forums with community forums, with parental forums, and then involving our educators in the decision making, whether that be a committee structure or that be just a support structure of focus groups. I think that would be important. And then most importantly, I want to see Grayson County Schools be a first-class educational system. We have a tremendous amount of talent here to offer, and we have an opportunity with Blue Oval coming into Hardin County for this county to grow. And with that growth and with the Area Technology Center growing, we have a tremendous potential to provide jobs and experiences for our students.
All right. What is a school board member's role and responsibility? How does that role differ from the role of a superintendent or administration?
Well, the school board's role is pretty defined by law. First off, we hire and evaluate a superintendent. Secondly, we set policy for the schools and the school district. And third, we adopt a budget and administer the finances of the school district. And so, the law pretty is prescribed on what school boards are supposed to do. Now, it differs from the standpoint of what the superintendent and the administration is supposed to do in that the superintendent, the principals, the central office staff, those are charged with running the day-to-day activities of the school. And so, they run the school district, they run the schools, they make their decisions. And so the school board sets policy, adopts a budget, evaluates the superintendent, and then supports the principals and the administrators as they administer to the schools.
What should your school district do to better prepare students as citizens?
Well, I think we're well on our way of doing that with the expansion of the Area Technology Center. But one of the things we've got to do is open up pathways for our students so that, and a couple of the other candidates mentioned that as well, whether or not you're going to college or whether or not you're pursuing career and technical education or whether or not you're going into the workplace, we need to be able to better prepare our students. And that goes back into my goal about being a first-class educational system. And so there are several things that we can do better. I think one of them is to manage our finances. And so when you look carefully at your budget and when you put your money where it goes to support teaching and learning, then we're going to see improvements in our school district. We need to increase apprenticeships and mentorships in the county. We need to grow our own teachers because there's a teacher shortage. And so we need to retain teachers that we have. As I work as a university supervisor, I had a teacher at Clarkson Elementary, and her mentor teacher came to me during one of the board meetings and said, I just thought I would tell you that I'm leaving Grayson County to go to Hardin County because of the pay. And so we need to look and see how can we maximize the benefits, how can we appreciate teachers, how can we pay them so that we're not losing teachers to other districts. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about test scores. Test scores are not the end-all to the be-all, but they are an indication of how our students are doing compared to others in terms of reading and math and other subject area proficiency. And so we need to use that data to drive some of the improvement that we're going to do in our schools. So, I'm running for school board in District 1 to hopefully be a part of a team that can work with the superintendent and the administrators to improve the school system. And so I'm asking for your vote for District 1 school board on November the 5th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next candidate up will be Jonathan Decker. He's running for school board in the 2nd District.
My name's Jonathan Decker. I graduated from Grayson County High School. I own my own business for the last 11 years. I have 2 children in the Grayson County school system, and I have a wife that is a teacher in the Butler County school system. And with her being in the Butler County school system, we see how different school systems work. The things that I've seen things that we need to really improve on, and that was one of the reason I chose to run for school board.
In what school district or community activities / organizations have you been involved?
Over the last 16, 17 years, I have coached softball, girls and boys basketball in Grayson and Butler County, travel basketball, travel softball, and I'm also a member of the Grayson County Cattlemen's Association.
How can the board be accessible and transparent to the community?
They need to be seen at school functions. They need to be seen by the community members that they are interested in what's going on, what families need, what students need, what teachers need. I think, as some of the other candidates said, I think all board meetings should be made to the public, Facebook Live, local cable, whatever, so they know what is going on, not stuff behind closed doors, like they said, after the meeting that is public.
What is your reason for running for a position on the school board? And if elected, what is your top 3 priorities?
My reason is my 2 children. Since they have been going to school here the last 4 years, we went at the beginning of the year, before school started, we went into Wilkie. There was like 3 teachers that were there when my kids started 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 teachers. The turnover of the teachers going to other counties to take better job or better pay was one of the reasons I chose to do this. And top 3 priorities is to make sure that we keep a top quality staff, try to get the pay competitive with every county around us. We should be competitive. We've got the tax dollars. I've talked to the PVA. With all the new homes being built, there are tax dollars there that we can be competitive. My wife teaches in Butler County. If she went here, she'd have to take a $4,000 pay cut. That is not what we should be doing. Second priority would be school safety. We should have a school resource officer in every school. We should not be splitting between 2 schools. If something happens at Wilkie and the resource officer's at the middle school, it's going to take a while to get there. So our kids' safety should be top priority too. And the third reason is Well, that was the main two reasons.
What is a school board member's role and responsibility? How does that role differ from the role of the superintendent or administration?
The school board's responsibility is to, like I said, do the budget, help pass all the budget things, and to be a voice for the community that elected you. You should be there. You should, like I said, you should be at the schools. You should see what's going on and be a voice at these meetings, and kindly hold the superintendent and the administrators accountable for these things. And the superintendent's role is to kindly handle the day-to-day operations, them and the administrators of the schools.
What should your school district do to better prepare students as citizens?
I think getting this new technology center is a great thing. There's going to be a lot of kids that are not going to a four-year school. They can make a great living doing one of these technology or trade jobs. And, I chose not to go to a four-year school because I hated school. As I told Jackie Cox the other day, I said, nobody has ever asked me what X plus Y is since I left your class. And I said, I think I've done pretty good. So, but we do a good job with most of that. And like I said, it is a great opportunity to expand the technology center.
Thank you. All right, our next candidate up is John Glenn. He's going to be running for school board in the 2nd District.
Thank everybody for coming out tonight. My name is John Glenn. I am running for Grayson County School Board District 2. I graduated from Grayson County High School many years ago, but I'm a realtor for 22 years here in Litchfield, Farming Home.
In what school district or community activities / organizations have you been involved?
I was in the Lawler District School. I was the PTO, site-based council at the high school for a couple of years. I coached basketball and baseball in the county.
How can the board be accessible and transparent to the community?
I think somebody else said that earlier. Do more live social media events, something like that, question and answers, anything to get the word out to teachers and students and parents.
What is your reason for running for a position on the school board?
I would like to help the community out as much as I can, for like I say, the parents, teachers, the whole community, and just everybody.
What's your top 3 priorities?
New ideals to make our students achieve their goals, to help the better school system.
What is a school board member's role and responsibility, and how does that role differ from a role of a superintendent or administration?
Again, it's like bringing new ideals to the school and better communication. Hopefully we can do everything as a team to get the word out, what needs to be done.
What should your school district do to better prepare students as citizens?
I think a lot of classes should be taught, especially in high school, teach more economics, life after school, as far as entrepreneurships and classes that help the students, thrive with the new guy school, like a 2-year degree, like a trade school instead of a 4-year degree. Because it's rough when you get out of school. It's a different world.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Our next candidate up is Amanda Lewis. She's running for school board in the 1st District.
Hi, everyone. My name's Dr. Amanda Lewis. I'm a local dentist. I've lived here my whole life. I went to Grayson County, Clarkson and Wilkie, middle school, high school. Now I have 4 kids in the school system. 2 have graduated. That's wonderful. Proud of them. And I have 2 more that are currently attending Grayson County Middle School. My dad and uncle were school teachers before they became dentists, and one of the big problems was the pay and being told what to do. They were the professionals, and they felt like, they should be the ones to decide how to teach their students. So that's kind of given me a little bit of a push to do this.
All right. In what school district or community activities/organizations have you been involved?
Clarkson is where my kids have gone to grade school most of the time. I was on the site-based council at Clarkson. I was elected to that. I was also elected to the site-based council at the middle school. So I've gotten to see two different ways of doing things. They were very open to my ideas at Clarkson, and middle school maybe not so much, and that's okay. It was good to see the difference. I've coached recreational soccer at the Clarkson soccer fields for several years. I coached junior pro basketball, actually when I was in school. And I got to be a delegate to the district and state conventions here in Kentucky. So that was an honor to do that.
How can the board be accessible and transparent to the community?
I think it would be beneficial if people who came to the board meetings felt like they could ask questions. I know they've got their way of doing things, but there's a lot of people that would like to be able to ask a question kind of on the fly, to be able to say, I really would like to speak, and give them a few minutes, not just cut people off and say, this is the amount of time, that's it, no more questions. As an elected school board member, you want to hear from your community. So I think that would help. I also think that the board meetings should be on Facebook Live. I mean, I saw a couple of them that were kind of the hotly contested ones, but it would be nice if we could see every one of them. That way people in the community would know what's going on. Also, the budget. I got an opportunity to look over the school board budget. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I couldn't tell what went where, what was spent on what. It was very confusing. It would be nice if we had a nice, concise budget where you could tell where the money's going. The taxpayers and the community deserve that.
What is your reason for running for a position on the school board? And if elected, what is your top 3 priorities?
The reason I'm running, and it's not because I don't have plenty of things to do, believe me, I'm busy, but my kids asked me to. When COVID, the lockdowns occurred, there was a lot of, I don't want to say secrecy, but there wasn't much transparency. And I think it would be nice if parents' rights were a little more on the top echelon of their thinking, instead of, it's the way the school board does it, you're going to listen to us and that's it. And I think a lot of people felt that way, especially during the lockdowns. I also think we ought to look more to classic curriculum. And the computers are great. I have no problem with computers, but everything is on the computer now. My kids don't have books. They don't have a lot of study materials to bring home. The girls play soccer. They're going to be a marching band. How do they study on a computer in a bus? It's very difficult. The batteries run out, and then they don't have the opportunity to study. So I'd like to see textbooks. It would be nice just to have a supplement to the lectures and the computers. And this one's going to be real popular. I would like to see the CRT and the DEI eliminated from the school system. That's the social indoctrination, and I've seen a lot of it. My girls were showing me some of I think it was the Myon reading program that the school bought, and there was a lot of indoctrination in those articles that the kids read. Now, the teachers aren't presenting it. I am not blaming them at all, because I've talked to several of them. But there was a lot of history of the LGBTQ, and that's fine, but there wasn't anything about George Washington or about the Constitution. It would just be nice to maybe have a bigger panoply of things to look at instead of just social indoctrination. Sorry, I talked too much.
What is a school board member's role and responsibility? How does that role differ from a role of the superintendent or administration?
The school board members are elected, so they should represent the community, the taxpayers. a lot of times, and I actually heard a member say that they were to do what the superintendent wants. And it kind of struck me funny. I thought, no, maybe you should be more adversarial to the superintendent, offer more ideas, give more, ideas so that there can be a give and take and maybe represent the community better. So they should represent the community. The superintendent's going to represent the state and the school system, and that's fine. But I think it just needs to be a little more adversarial in a good way.
What should your school district do to better prepare students as citizens?
Like I said earlier, I think the curriculum should be a classic curriculum based on reading, writing, and arithmetic. Not just do everything on a computer, and not just focus on passing a standardized state test. That's great, and like some of the people were talking about earlier, you need to see where we rank. That's wonderful. But if you're focused solely on passing that test, you're missing out on a whole lot of other information that kids need. I talked to Wilson, my son, a second ago, and he said they do have mandatory civics, economics, and government classes. I think that's wonderful. I am super glad to hear that. I also think we need books, not just computer programs. The kids need books so they can study. And I would like to see more opportunities for kids to socialize. My daughters feel kind of imprisoned in school. They have walking time. I was like, oh, that sounds like a prison. No dances, no opportunities to socialize after school, can't sit together in the lunchroom. They just went through a period where they were isolated for almost 2 years. I think it would be good for mental health and just to be able to learn how to talk to each other and become grown-ups and socialize with each other after school if they had some activities to do. And dances were a big one.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That concludes our evening. Thank you again for coming out, and thanks to the candidates for being with us and answering our questions and helping inform the community. You can feel free to talk to them with any questions. We encourage everyone to go vote. Thank you all.